Hello everyone, my name is Lorraine Hurst. I'm here from Healthworks and this is the Cooking Good project, and we are part of the Longleigh Circles of Support for Stonewater, and this is part of our winter wellness series, which is all about staying healthy and well during the winter. So we're cooking a recipe and talking about what foods are good for us, for our health during the winter. Now, I've got a little observer here called Rajesh, and also there on the Zoom we've got Copley House and we've got Norfolk House. So hopefully a few people who are watching live, and we will record this and pop this on the Healthworks YouTube page and share it on the Stonewater Facebook page and our own Facebook page. So welcome everybody, and just to tell you what we're cooking today, we are cooking an easy veg chili. That's this recipe, and I will put a link for this with the video. It has gone out by email if anybody wants me to send these in advance. If you're going to cook along, then you're very welcome to. So the reason it's called easy veg chili is because we think it's an easy recipe to follow. It does look like it's got a lot of ingredients, but you can alternate which ingredients you use. And also thinking about kind of cost of living and not using too much energy, this is a good one to make, to batch cook, to put in some containers, put in the freezer, put it in the fridge. It'll last 2 or 3 days in the fridge because it makes quite a lot. You can sort of obviously double up if you want to, but I won't in terms of the recipe. So the first thing we're going to do is chop some of our vegetables. It says 1 onion, but I've got small onions, so I'm going to use 2. And I'm going to chop those, put them in a pan, and it does say to use a little bit of oil, but you can actually cook vegetables without any oil. And it's slightly better for us if we do that. But we're going to use a little bit of oil because that's what it says on the recipe. We can either use olive oil, or I've got some rapeseed oil, but I think olive oil is better. Well, we know as nutritionists that olive oil is better. So we're going to use that, heat that in the pan, get that heating, and then get our onions into this pan. Josh, if you could pass me like a small bowl so I can put all my peelings in, that would be fantastic. Wonderful to have help. Thank you very much. So in this recipe, whilst I'm chopping the onion, I'll tell you what's in it. Okay, so it is vegetarian and vegan, so but not especially. It's just that it's cheaper, but it does have lots of protein in it because we've got some beans in it. So whilst I'm chopping the onions, to let you know that we've got some mixed beans, 2 tins of that. We've got 2 tins of passata, that's these. We've got some paprika, chili powder, cumin, and oregano. And here also got some vegetable stock cubes that we're going to use. And if we want to have rice with it, we can have some of this rice. I'll talk about that rice when we get to it. And we have a range of vegetables here, which I'll talk about as we chop them. And of course, garlic, because that's really good for our immune systems. Okay, so let's get cooking our onion. You can cook it chop this very finely if you want to. I'm chopping it fairly finely, but bearing in mind time and everyone's patience watching. And I've got 2 onions to cook, so just get that. Can you hear that sizzling? There. I'm going to take the other onion. Basically, I'm just frying off these vegetables. But if you want to use no oil, then what you can do is just put a small amount of water in your pan. And don't cook it on quite as high a heat as you probably would if you're using oil. Yeah. Okay, and the reason we're doing that, if we use just water, so I'm using oil now because this 2-ring hob isn't the greatest machine for cooking things. So I'd rather use something with that I can get to a reasonable heat. The reason we would use water is because even though olive oil is a slightly healthier fat, you need a wooden spoon, stir that round. Olive oil is a healthier fat. It does still get to quite a high temperature in the pan and turns into a fat that is more inflammatory in our bodies, which we don't want. We don't want to be in an inflamed state in our bodies. We want to be reducing inflammation, and that will help us to stay healthy and well. So I'm going to chop the peppers into, you're sort of dicing most things really, but you can choose. You can always use some tinned vegetables if you don't have fresh vegetables, or frozen vegetables. So frozen vegetables are just as healthy, or they certainly have a decent amount of vitamins in them compared to other vegetables. Compared to tinned, say. Watch out for sugar in some tinned vegetables, although it's getting better now. There's fewer vegetables, tinned vegetables with sugar in them. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. So I'm just putting everything in the pan. It's a shame it's not smelly vision. You can smell the onion and the peppers. It's just a tip for how to cut a pepper is to cut it round the sides and down the middle. No questions from the cookhouse at the moment. It's a winter warmer, this, it really is, with chili in it. But obviously be careful if you find that chili is a little bit too strong and gives you any tummy pain. It can for some people. Just put as much chili in as you like and as you can tolerate. Let's get these cooking. If anyone's saying, oh, she looks as if she's left-handed, you're right. No, I'm left-handed, not right. Sometimes for some people she looks so awkward when she's chopping things. Grandfather, he was left-handed, but he was taught to write with his right hand because it was seen as wrong to write with your left hand. Obviously, it's not wrong. We move on in our thinking, don't we? Right. So okay. So that's actually cooking away there. Got loads of colours in there. And for those of you who haven't done one of these workshops before, we talk about eating a rainbow. So if we eat all the different colours of the rainbow, and we've got purple and red and yellow here, then if we eat all the colours of the rainbow, we get all our micronutrients, all the smaller nutrients that we need in our diet by eating all the different colours. So I'm also going to add a courgette, and because this ring is so slow, I'm going to grate that, and then I'm going to grate the carrot. Which will be easier. I've washed these. It will cook a little bit quicker and grate it. So this is a courgette. Yeah. You can, I don't know if anybody's done it before, boil up any leftover vegetables to make a stock. So maybe not the skin of the onion, but any other ends of vegetables, as long as they're clean, you can actually boil them up to make a vegetable stock. My neighbour has rabbits, so they tend to get the vegetables. Right, so here we go. I'm going to put some carrot in here as well. So we get some orange in here. So we've got orange, red, yellow, green, white, everything in there. And just take your fingers off. Something, doesn't it? Right. And carrot goes in there. So we've got a lot of vegetables going on. But it is a vegetable chili. So this is us eating a rainbow. It's also good for hiding vegetables. You can put any vegetables in here. You can put celery, broccoli, most vegetables, not necessarily salad vegetables. We are putting some tomatoes in the form of the tomato puree. So we're just going to boil that down so that they're a little bit soft, these vegetables. And whilst that's happening, we can put our garlic in. The best thing to do with garlic, so it's actually healthier for us, is to take the cloves of garlic. In this case, I've got two. I think it says 3 in the recipe, so I'm going to put 3 in. You can never have too much garlic. Super good for our immune system. Get the skin off. I've just bashed it down with a knife to do that. Take the outside skin off and just leave it for a few minutes, because the important properties in garlic, I think, will stand for a while. And it's actually better to put the garlic in near the end of cooking rather than fry it off with the oil, because that way you're keeping the goodness of the garlic in the food, not burning it, because it does burn very easily, garlic. As John, who did the recipe last week, the carbonara, he was telling us about that. Okay, so go. Let's have a look at our veg now. This is really easy. Has anybody made this before? So let's look at that. We can chop up our garlic. We can use a crusher. We can slice it. If anybody doesn't like that garlic, you don't have to put garlic in it. But I think once something is cooked, if you cook the garlic properly, you're not going to have that really strong garlic taste. And it is so, so good for our immune system. Also with garlic, it's a prebiotic. And a prebiotic means it helps to feed, an onion as well, it helps to feed the good bacteria in our stomachs, our probiotics. So the prebiotics feed the probiotics and give us a healthy gut. And a healthy gut is really important for our immune system, because our immune system is based mainly, or quite a lot of it, is based in our gut. So it's where we sort of fight, the body gets its defences for. And going into the winter, we want to have the strongest defences we possibly can. Okay, so I've got some garlic, which I'll put in a minute. So I have to resist, because I'm always used to putting it in at first with the vegetables. I think at this point, I'm going to add all the spices. So we've got some paprika, teaspoon of that. It says 1.5, but let's go with 1.5 then. As I say, that's a bit spicy, paprika. You don't have to use paprika, you can just use the chili powder. Now it does say 2 chili powders, but I'm just going to do 1 because I don't like too much. Josh is disappointed because he would prefer more chili. And then I'm going to use cumin, which is 1 teaspoon of that. Cumin is a really Cumin is a really good anti-inflammatory spice. Very good for the digestion. And it says oregano, but you can use vegetable sort of mixed herbs. You can use mixed herbs. This is actually saying oregano. So I'm using oregano. That's it, that's dried herbs. So when you're adding herbs to your food, you're adding extra nutrients. That's important to note that, because we need about 50 different foods to have a healthy, 50 different foods a week, not a day, to have a healthy gut. Look at that now, that's sweating down there in the pan. And then we can use chop up our garlic. Really finely. One tip here. And use a garlic crusher, as I say. I prefer it a little bit. I'm going to put the garlic in now. I'm about to put the tinned tomatoes in and tinned vegetables, tinned beans even. I can put some tinned vegetables in. We've got a really nice colour going here. I'm just going to start putting that garlic. And we can start to put, you can use tinned tomatoes, but I'm using passata. It's a little less acidic. That's the reason I'm using that. So if you're somebody who has got any digestive issues or any acid reflux or anything like that, where you feel like, oh, I can't eat that, it's too acidic, then passata might be a little bit better for you. I'm going to put 2 of these in. You have to cut the top. Yeah, I'll just show you something else. I've got some stock. I think with the passata, we may not actually need as much stock, but I'm using a stock cube, which is just from a regular stock, vegetable stock that you can buy in any supermarket. This one's from Aldi. And it's 250 grams of stock. If you're using passata, you might need a little less. I just one made earlier, but I'll pop it all in there because I will cook this down. So that's your liquid. Could be spicier, could be spicy, but we'll leave it as it is at the moment. Okay, so we're going to use our mixed beans. You can use kidney beans, it mentions in the recipe, and mixed beans, chickpeas. You can use any combination you like. This recipe says 1 tin of kidney beans and 1 tin of mixed beans. These are 2 tins of mixed beans. It really doesn't matter. We've got kidney, bortolotti, and other kinds of beans in there. What do they have in there? Okay. Mixed beans, black-eyed beans, chickpeas, pinto beans, kidney beans. So there's lots of different ones in there. Some of these are the same you can get in baked beans, basically. Okay. So you just mix that together and leave it to cook. That is easy veg chili. Hi, Tejo. Easy veg chili. So all I've done is fry off the initial vegetables. And as I say, you can do that with water instead of oil if you want to. Hi, Tejo. Nice of you that you could join us. And I've added the passata and the stock and all our spices. So when we say easy veg chili, that's what we mean. It's easy, basically. So you can see that cooking away in the pan. So while that's cooking, because that needs a few minutes, we'll just talk about the the properties of the food that we've used in this recipe. As I say, you can substitute any vegetables, really. Could even use some frozen vegetables in this dish, that's not a problem. Or if you've got a glut of something, you've got a lot of courgette or a lot of onion or something like that, you can chop them and freeze them and put them in a freezer bag. And those are really handy because then you can just chuck them in. You don't even need to chop them. And you could make this is a big-ish pan, so this is actually quite a lot, and will feed a few people for a few days. So if you want to portion it down, as I said before, you could always put it in a container and put one portion in there and eat it like that. We've got some, you can eat it with tacos or a jacket potato or a wrap. We've actually got some whole grain rice here. I also have some wraps, some small wheat-based wraps. This is whole grain rice, and the reason we're using whole grain rice, and if we can whole grain wraps, is because they have more fibre. So an average adult needs 32 grams of fibre, and we don't usually get enough fibre in our diet. And we need more fibre in our diet because it helps our digestive system to run smoothly. It also, again, feeds that good bacteria in our gut to keep our immune system healthy. And that's what this winter wellness program is all about. So in case you haven't seen it before, because you're a new group this season, this is our healthy plate. While that's cooking, because we only need to cook that for about 10 minutes, but our pan is so slow, this particular two-ring hob, is to show you our healthy eating plate. These, you can get them in B&M, that's where I get them from. You can get them online, they're a little bit more expensive online, but B&M, if you've got one of those near you, have a look out for these. They basically show you that nearly half your plate needs to be vegetables, and you can see all the different colours, vegetables, and the variety of vegetables is really important, as I say, for all your micronutrients. And then you've got about a quarter of a plate being protein and about a quarter being carbohydrates. That's simplifying the eat well plate. But your carbohydrates are your pasta, your rice, your potatoes, your bread, that kind of thing, other grains, if you like quinoa or anything like that. Ideally, as we say, with our carbohydrates, the slightly better carbohydrates that we can eat are going to be the whole grains. So if we can to have whole grain, you can get whole grain pasta, whole grain rice, whole grain wheat, wraps, etc. Or eat the sweet potatoes here as well. They are very good, full of vitamin A, aren't they, sweet potatoes? And then we've got our protein section. So in this case, because this is a veg chili, we're getting our protein from beans. And beans are really full of protein. It's not only meat that has protein in it, and with the cost of living at the moment, meat is expensive and becoming more expensive. So to eat beans and pulse and lentils and that kind of thing, they all fit into this category. Nuts, cheese, salmon here, eggs, chicken. This is all the protein section. So that's giving you an idea of what the proportions of different of the macronutrients you might have on a plate as a healthy plate. So this gives you an idea. It's a rather large plate, so for people who are older, who are perhaps not doing a physical job, this plate is probably on the big side, but it does actually give you an idea of the proportions. Okay, so our chili is actually boiling at the moment. That's actually starting to cook. You can leave this for quite a while if you want to, but as I say, the cost of electricity, then it only needs about 10 minutes to actually cook. I'll put the lid on it, it might start to bubble away a bit more. Right, does anyone have any questions at the moment? Chat. Anyone? No questions at the moment? Is it sunny where everyone is? Feel free to unmute for a minute, anyone? It's just clouded over here in West Northamptonshire. South Northants even, that's where we are, South Northants, just clouded over. So we're about 38 minutes in to our cooking, and I've been doing quite a bit of talking while I've been chopping, but I would say you could probably make this within you know, 35, 45 minutes, depending on your speed of chopping. And as I say, if you've got any regular vegetables you've already got in the fridge, in the freezer chopped, then you can always add those. Moving away a little bit more. I'm going to tell you where we are next week. I'll just have to look that up on my computer. Cloudy in Leinster. Oh, yeah, it's a bit cloudy here. Hopefully it's going to be nicer on Saturday. Got that to look forward to. Always concerned with the weather, aren't we, in our country? Anybody have any questions? Anybody not like any of these ingredients? Want to know about any other substitutes? There's also a recipe on our website called mincy rice pots, which we've made with turkey. So if you really do need to have you want to have some animal meat, then there's a mincy rice pot recipe. We made it the other day, and we made it with minced turkey, and that was something people really liked. So as I say, this is chili. I'm just going to get, bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to get some cheese out of the fridge. I've just been very kindly reminded by Rajesh that we need to put salt in our recipe. He's absolutely right. Probably taste it and go, oh, that doesn't taste so good. So in our chili, which is boiling away, we put about half a teaspoon of blue spoonfuls of salt. You can also put pepper in. I'm going to leave that for now. I've got somebody I might share it with who is a bit allergic to pepper, but you can put salt and pepper in there. And yeah, that has got quite a lot of liquid. So if you're using the passata, you probably need to use maybe only 100 ml of the water. But it's very liquidy, so you know, do use some nice whole grain bread or some rice to soak that chili up. Definitely right, it does need salt, and you can use a little bit of cheese because some people like a little bit of cheese on there. I've got some grated cheese here. You can just buy a normal block of cheese and grate it yourself. This is a extra mature cheddar cheese, and all you do is serve it up. If you need a ladle, please. There's a ladle there, that silver one. That's it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right. So helpful to have a ladle if you've got one, or a large spoon. So what we can do is serve that up with a bit of rice. You can open our whole grain rice, and you can either put that in the pan and heat it up, or we can heat this up, say, in a microwave. This is actually a microwavable 2-minute rice, so it just saves time, and they're not too expensive, and it is whole grain. But I would say that you do need to heat this up. So I'm going to just put that in the microwave for me for a minute. One without that. So would you mind? 1.1 minute, 1.5 minutes. Thank you. So we've got our lovely sauce here, which absolutely smells delicious. And we're just going to get some rice to go with that. We can add a little bit of cheese, and that's lunch. And it could be dinner, and it will keep for, there's a huge vat of it here, so it will actually cook, feed a lot of people for quite a few meals. So it's a great one to do for if you are doing any cooking in your setting, when you're all having a get together. I know in some of the Stonewater retirement settings, they have days where they do some cooking together. Somebody does some cooking and everybody shares the food and eats together. And in a way, that's very much a principle of cooking good is to have everyone cooking together and eating together. It's not about being the best chef and being master chef or anything like that. It's about eating really good food and sharing that and enjoying it, really, as well as it being good for us. So I'll do one without the yeah, most of the veg have cooked, because what I did was I grated some of them, if you remember. You put a little bit of cheese on that. That gives it a nice extra flavour. There we go. You can also put a little bit of greenery on there if you want as well. So that's one of them. And then we'll have another one with a bit of rice is coming up. Yeah, this is still boiling. Brilliant, thank you very much. Oh, hot, yes. Right, and then this one's got the rice in it, so it's just come out of the microwave, so we need to let it cool a little bit. I'll put the chilli in it, and then we can let that cool naturally. And then a little bit of cheese on that. And if you want, you can always add some pepper. You like that pepper? Yeah. On that one. Good to add at the end. There we go. So I can turn my chilli off now, it's cooked. And also another tip when you're using a hob is if you turn off the hob before the end of the cooking, you've stopped using the electricity, but the hob's still warm and it's still cooking. It's the same thing with an oven. So that is still boiling away, and it will continue to boil away even though I've turned that off. So that's a tip for you. So here we have it, easy veg chilli. Lots of recipes like that, and curry recipes and those sort of warming spices that are also really actually very good for us and not too expensive. The cumin and turmeric and ginger, that's another one that's really good for us. Again, that's going to make it more of a curry than a chili. And you can put fresh chili spices in if you want to, chop them up. You can put crushed chilies in, but it's going to have a bit more of a kick if you do that. It's going to be a bit stronger. So just bear that in mind when you're making this. Does anybody have any questions? I would like to pass you some through the camera, but I know that's not possible. So I'm just going to show you this one, the one that isn't going to burn my hands off. There we are. Lovely warming veg chilli. And we're going to give it a try. We need a couple of spoons, Rajesh. I think we need spoons for this one. It's quite liquidy. We always add more veg. You could have had a bit of spinach at the end as well. So that gives it that extra green colour and lots of good vitamins. So the vitamin K2 in spinach and others. So that's it for now. We're going to try this. Let's have a little taste. Yeah, really good. That's spicy enough for me. Here we go, Rajesh. Okay. See what you think. Was hot. What do you think? You probably need it to be spicier. But there we are. Yeah. We'll see what my helper thinks of it. Taster. Yeah, it's okay. Good. We've got a thumbs up from Rajesh here as well, so that's fantastic. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know if you think there's anything in particular you'd like us to cook next week. I'm going to keep with the theme of sort of healthy winter foods and things that will keep us healthy during the winter. But if there's anything in particular you'd like us to cook, please do let us know before next week. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining us. I'll just stop the record. Bye for now. See you next time.